until you're doing 20, 25,000 points in sales per month, you're going to be the hardest working person on your team. But if you're doing this right, somewhere around 20, 25,000 points, your team starts to work as hard as you. Not one given person. I mean, if you're doing about 20,000 points and you've got one person on your team working as hard as you already, you are in such a privileged position. Okay. Be happy that you're in that situation. But that is not the situation for most. But somewhere around there, 20, 25, 30,000 points, your team collectively is doing as much as you as far as inviting, following up. They may not be doing the trainings, they may not be doing the opportunity stuff, but they're doing a lot of the daily methods of operation at a higher level than you. You know, if you're doing 5 invites, the team is doing 10. If you're doing 5 follow-ups, the team is doing 10. Those daily methods of operation, that's what you want. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Freedom Factory. Excited for you to be back here for another episode of how to build a business that truly creates freedom. That's why you guys are here. And our topic today is right in alignment with what we're all about. And that is building a business that doesn't stop even when you need to stop. Isn't it true that, like, from time to time, we need a break? I mean, all of us got involved with owning our own business, specifically a network marketing company. When you started to build the team, you did that to be able to enjoy an income that would come in that you weren't having to do the work for. We talk all the time about doing the work once and getting paid over and over and over. That's leverage. Now, that sounds great, but there has to be a technique to that. There has to be systems around that, or you're going to find yourself where if you're not doing the work, the volume stops, the duplication stops, everything kind of hinges on your activity. And that can be frustrating. That can be draining. It will absolutely lead to burnout. All right. So I'm going to give you some tips today on how you can build a business that allows you to step away, charge your batteries a little bit. Now, given you cannot step away from any business indefinitely and expect it to continue to grow. But if you like what you're doing, if you're getting benefit from what you're doing, then why would you step away indefinitely, right? I mean, I firmly believe that if you're going to be great at anything, you got to enjoy what you're doing. Not all of it, but you got to enjoy some of it, because if not, you'll just lose interest. All right. But we need to step away. And really, the timing of this podcast is the summer that we're about to go into, right? We're recording this right now at the end of May. This will be, I think, published on the first or the 2nd of June. So we're going into June, July, August, those months where it gets busy with families. People are traveling, there's vacations, and that should be happening. That's good stuff. We want to be able to do that. What we don't want our business to go on vacation. We don't want our paycheck to go on vacation. And that's why I thought it would be timely to kind of share some of these ideas with you today that can help you build a business that is sustainable, even if you're not right on top of it. It's one of the things truly that drove me to the industry of network marketing, because prior to this, our businesses were traditional business. And I remember being on beaches in Mexico and working from the beach, or really, trying to make sure they were busy or concerned about payroll and all these things. And that's just not a real vacation, right? We should not be stuck in a day-to-day grind every day of the week and our business not be affected. Like, we want to be able to take our foot off the gas for a little while, recharge our own batteries, but our business grows. So there's been a number of occasions since I have stepped over into network marketing where, for sure, we have taken the time to step away to recharge our batteries, and the business has continued to grow. In fact, I do kind of some little micro trips or micro steps away from the business almost every week to charge my batteries, but it would not work. I couldn't do that if I didn't have some of these things in place that I'm talking to you about. So here's kind of your litmus test, all right? Um, what would happen in your business if you didn't do anything for 72 hours? You didn't talk to anyone, you didn't put any posts on social media, you didn't return any messages, none of that happened for 72 hours. What would happen to your business? And if the answer is there would be problems, then you need to really be paying attention to what we're talking about today. 72 hours is not a big gap of time. So maybe you want to stretch that out a little bit more. But let me put it to you this way. What would happen in your business if you didn't do any more trainings, any more recruiting, any more troubleshooting for the next 60 days? What would happen in your business? And if the answer is it would be devastating to your business, then you should be paying attention to what we're sharing with you. And some of you guys are at different stages of your business. Some of you are just starting to launch a team, and in that case, you are like I. I think I don't know all the companies and how they work, but I know in talking to a lot of leaders, um, until you're doing 20, 25,000 points in sales per month, you're going to be the hardest working person on your team. But if you're doing this right, somewhere around 20, 25,000 points, your team starts to work as hard as you. Not one given person. I mean, if you're doing about 20,000 points and you've got one person on your team working as hard as you already, you are in such a privileged position. Okay. Be happy that you're in that situation. But that is not the situation for most. But somewhere around there, 20, 25, 30,000 points, your team collectively is doing as much as you as far as inviting, following up. They may not be doing the trainings, they may not be doing the opportunity stuff, but they're doing a lot of the daily methods of operation at a higher level than you. If you're doing 5 invites, the team is doing 10. If you're doing 5 follow-ups, the team is doing 10. Those daily methods of operation. That's what you want. Okay. But you're going to need to find a way to scale your business. All right. So here's a few things. First, you need systems that will allow you to scale. And this can be simple. A great part of a healthy team, in my opinion, is one that has communication piece, a weekly communication. So that could be a Zoom, it could be a call, somewhere where you're communicating. I like video better than voice. And I don't even believe, there is some connection in these Facebook groups with the team, but you need something that they're coming to at best at an appointed time, not a pre-recorded. We've played around with this in the past, and it's just best that you're live with the team at a given time to create this energy and a sustainable foundation where people can plug in. So number one, you need something your team can plug into every week that charges their batteries that you don't necessarily have to be hosting or running. Okay, something that you've taught others. I'm going to get to a little bit of a strategy here in this next section, but something that you can lean on one or two leaders in your team. And that's why I said you got to be probably over 20, 25,000 points, or you're going to be doing this yourself, or probably still plugging into someone else's call. But you need systems that scale. Okay. So a good system is something that the team can plug into every week to get updated, inspired, and up level their skills. All right. The next thing you're going to want from a systems standpoint is you're going to need something the team can plug their leads into. That could be an opportunity presentation. That can be an overview of the products or the services. And it could be pre-recorded, but there needs to be something people are inviting to. And I'm going to tell you guys, 72-hour windows is the key. If your team doesn't have something they can invite to every 72 hours, then they're going to be putting invites out for things that are happening next week. That's why it's important that you have an evergreen system in place, which means you have opportunity presentations or landing pages that you can send out. If someone has interest, great. Would you like me to send you a link? You can take a look at what we're doing so that that link can be sent out right away. If they have to wait till next week to get this information, they're going to forget. It sends worse. The worst thing is it sends a clear message that what you're doing is not that important because there's no urgency. That's why most retailers don't do sales for weeks at a time. They do a sale for one day or they do a sale for a weekend, and that's it. It's to create urgency. It's to so that you move things out of your schedule to get down there and go shop at their store. Otherwise, you wouldn't move the things out of your schedule. You would forget about it and you would never end up in the store spending your money. Okay. We have to kind of look at these big box stores and appreciate some of the expertise that they have laid out before us. A good rule of thumb, guys, is if you're spending money, you ought to be observing who you're spending money with and why you're purchasing. Because if you're spending money, whoever advertised to you must be doing a good job. You ought to observe what they're doing and maybe mimic that in your business, right? So make sure your team has something they can invite to keep the engine running no more than every 72 hours. So if you're doing live meetings only or in Zoom live, you need like 2 or 3 of these a week. All right. If you've got some evergreen presentations, you're golden because that can be a link that's sent out at any day of the week at any time when someone finds interest. All right. You may also want to have some things that are automated. You may want to have a newsletter that goes out every week. You may want to have an email that goes out every week to the team to be communicating with them so that people are plugged in, customers are plugged in, and you can be unplugged. Okay. The second thing, and this goes to a little bit what we were just talking about, is identifying people in your group that potentially can become leaders. Okay. So there's this theory of I will do it first. So let me show you. Okay. I will do it first. Then the next time we will do it, the two of us will do this. And then the third time you do it. Right. So what's that look like? Well, if it's a team huddle, a team call, the first ones you're going to do. Okay. But when you start to identify a leader, then you're going to want to bring that leader in and have that leader do part of that call with you. They do half, you do half. And then you're going to have that leader do one by themselves, not while you're gone, but while you're on the call and observing. Okay. It's first I do, then we do, then you do. That's the system. All right. Now, how can you identify leaders? How can you identify someone that might be the person that you can start bringing through the team? Well, I believe the larger the sacrifice people are making to be a part of your team and your company and what you're doing, the better chance you've got someone that can be a leader. Sacrifice to me is one of the biggest indicators of someone's desire to do this, their need to do this, their coachability, they're hungry. That's the word. Someone that's making high levels of sacrifice is hungry. This one sticks out in my mind all the time. There was a lady on our team that had driven almost 2 hours to be at a meeting in Orlando, Florida once. And she was a little late. And I don't know how you guys are going to take this, but she gets there, she's a little frazzled, and she's like, "Oh, I'm such a mess." And I even got, she had like some milk on her shirt. She's a mother with a nursing baby, and I just thought, what this woman has got a huge desire to build this for her family because one, she drove 2 hours in the middle of the week. Two, she's a mom with kids that need her, and she's having to go through all these steps, all these things ahead of time to set things up for her children in order for her to be at this meeting. I knew at that given time, I better be paying attention to her because she was serious. She wanted this versus someone that, got there late, sat in the back of the room, didn't have too much to sacrifice. That person doesn't really have much skin in the game. Okay. So look for people who are sacrificing, people who are making long drives, people who maybe are they're going to events even though financially they're very strapped, or even just showing up at the event. Maybe you've got some events that your team does or the company does. The people that were at the last event, side note, if it's a travel event where they had to get on an airplane and get a hotel or Airbnb, whoever was at that last event, those are the most important people in your team for the next 90 days because they are the ones that are most hungry right now. Now, that may change. That's why it's good to have these events because it lets you know who your future leaders may be so that you can remember the topic of this podcast so that you can check out for a little bit and your business doesn't check out. People that are hungry, they're not checking out in June, July, and August. That's the whole point of this, guys. We're going into a season right now where people are going to be checking out. Well, your people who really need to build this, who really need to get this thing off the ground, they're not checking out in June, July, and August. Because listen, people will build this to a level of comfort. And when they get comfortable, they slow down. So that's why I always say it's dangerous to be comfortable because if you're comfortable, you're very, very short step to catastrophe. I like to build systems, I like to build opportunities to a security standpoint because then when things go wrong, you just slip down to comfort. You don't go to catastrophe. So just implement this I will do, then we will do, then you do philosophy in your team, and you're going to start empowering people so that when you do step away for a week or two, your business runs without you. Okay. Third, you want clear communication. Clear communication. So, in order for you to step away for a few days or a week or so, you need to have clear communication with your team so they know what they need to be doing. What's their role? Um, I still to this day have weekly communication with leaders in my organization so that we're planning, everybody kind of knows their roles. And some things do fall through the cracks, but when I'm on my game, I'm several weeks ahead. I've also brought in a couple of VAs. I've got virtual assistants that I work with that help me leverage my time so that I'm not doing everything all the time. Okay, there are some tasks that you are better off farming out to someone else, letting them do it so that you can take care of the task that it's going to allow your business to run efficiently and scale. Okay. You're going to want to make sure that you have an accountability set up with the team so that each person knows what their role is, but they're also know that they're accountable to other people. So an example of this is maybe you do have a team call. You could say, okay, your role is host this week. Your role is to set the Zoom up, and then maybe a third person's role is to get the stories lined up for the week. Okay, everybody knows their roles. Maybe set up a chat and let them do their thing. Okay. So clear communication. You're never going to be able to step away for a little bit if you don't have clear communication with your team because no communication in our business is really bad. I know the saying, no news is good news, but that is not true in network marketing. No news means people are sleeping, people are distracted, people are burned out, people are doing other things. No news is a problem in network marketing. Okay. So we need to be in touch. There needs to be clear communication. All right. You need to create this atmosphere in your organization where you are designing freedom, not only for yourself, but for them. You need to remind them over and over and over that we have a system put together here. We have an ecosystem put together here where people that have questions can get pointed to the answers, not to a person. So I love like we've created systems in our team where if, like the top 10, 12 questions that come up when a new person starts, we've created videos. We created a launch course, digital launch course. They can go watch that as many times as they want to watch it, and they will get their answers to their startup questions. Create this ecosystem where people will find the answers. We use boards. And oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many questions come up every week, and we just keep pointing them back to boards because that's where the answers are. That way, I don't have to be the one supplying the answer all week. And I've created a bunch of leaders on our team that are doing the same thing. All right. So here's my call to action for you. There's going to be, I'm sure, some days over this summer that you're going to be going and enjoying yourself with your family. At least I hope so. Here's the call to action: implement the things that I've told you today. And then when that vacation's over, whatever you want to call it, that time away is over, I want you to look back and see if your business ran efficiently without you. Now, you're doing this well if your business grew without you. You guys, we've got people in our team that stepped away for 4 or 5 months at a time because of family emergencies, health issues, kid issues, and their business literally grew. Their paychecks grew while they were gone for 6 months. Why is that? They had created leadership. We as a team had created an ecosystem where their teams could plug into and not need just one person. That's what you're trying to create. So I want you guys to go recharge your batteries. You've got to go step away, take care of yourself, take care of your family, do the fun things, because that's what this whole podcast is about creating freedom. So go test the waters this summer. Test the waters in June, July, or August. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to see if your business grew while you were gone, or if when you came back, you were facing more problems than ever, more questions than ever, or more confusion than ever. And if you're really doing it right, see if your business grew while you were gone. Now, if it's just a few days, that's going to be hard to do. But if it was a week or two or three, that's going to be a good test to see if your business grew with or without you. And if you're doing it right, guys, if you're doing this right, your business grows without you. Now, I know for some of you, it's a little early for that to happen. As I've already outlined in this podcast, it takes a little time, but one by one leader at a time, and teaching them this strategy, teaching them your ecosystem, teaching them that this is a business of creating leadership that plug into systems and have this beautiful relationship where you're constantly trying to fire yourself. That's what you should be doing. All the things you do on the team, you should be trying to fire yourself from that job that someone else is doing it. And you're not just having them do it, but you're teaching them what you're doing so that they can do it for their teams and remove themselves as well. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast this week, guys. Take what we've said, apply it, and then do it again in 6 months and do it again 6 months later to see where your team falls, where the activity falls. And if so, if you do this, I'd like for you to send us a message. Let us know what you did. Let us know the results. Because honestly, your feedback is so important for us on this podcast. So send us your messages, send us the results from our call to actions you're giving you. I know we had one listener do that last week. I really enjoyed getting that message. She told me she went and took action on what we asked her to do, and she got some results. So that I love that. So share your comments with us, share your ideas, and most importantly, guys, what I want for you guys is that every day you're building a business that works for you, not you working for it. All right. So thank you guys for being here. We'll see you next week.